Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose. And for my longtime followers out there, you probably know that I cover Xbox Game Pass a lot on this channel. As a big fan of gaming, I'm also a big fan of the service and what Game Pass has to offer. And I can honestly say that I've played a lot of games that I might not have played otherwise without something like Game Pass. And that's one of the main reasons why I continuously praise what they've been able to achieve on this channel. It's honestly been unreal at times in what they've been able to offer at an affordable price. And I've said it countless times, it's the best deal in gaming, hands down. I never once thought that there was a debate to that narrative. It just is. It was 100% the best deal in gaming every single time I said that. But as the years have gone by, and with the recent news that broke last night, that narrative is becoming a little bit more scrutinized. So we're going to get into all of that today and some of my thoughts about what's happening. Now, we do have a few other things to talk about as well, including Palworld and a potential PlayStation 5 version of Bloodborne. Yeah, that would be massive news if it's actually true, though we'll get into that here in just a moment. Let's just go and get right into this Game Pass news, though, because I do understand that this is a major story, and a lot of people are very frustrated about this situation. Now, if you haven't already heard, Microsoft is raising the price for Game Pass across the board, and they're also making a few changes as well. And I think it's that last part there that's the more controversial decision out of the two. I mean, fans are always going to be mad about price hikes. That's inevitable, and I think especially in, today's world where, a lot of people are struggling. But I think the price hike in itself is not necessarily all that surprising. A lot of people were expecting this to follow the Activision Blizzard acquisition. That acquisition was a nearly $70 billion deal. And more so, if you look at what's going on in the world right now with inflation, everything is raising in price. So this isn't something that's exclusive to Game Pass and nothing else. I mean, if you just look at subscriptions in a vacuum, you'll notice that a lot of these services have been raising price, whether that be Netflix, HBO, you have Amazon Prime, they recently raised price as well, and then you have PlayStation Plus, which raised price last year. So what I'll say about this is that at least when it comes to Xbox Game Pass, unlike some of these other price hikes that really gave us nothing in return for those higher price tags, Microsoft has at least improved their service with better investment for their first-party offering. But at the end of the day, does this in itself justify the higher price tag for Xbox Game Pass? And a lot of that will come down to just how many Game Pass games you play a year, and also which tier are you subscribing to. That has been one of the big introductions with this change. There is a big change to that middle tier. We're going to come back to that here in just a moment. For Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, though, you're going to get those consistent day one releases that they give out every single month with those third-party deals. You're also going to get those day one first-party games on top of that, and that now includes ABK content as well. Now, if you don't care about ABK content, then, this price hike brings nothing to the table for you. But if you're a Call of Duty fan, as one such example, and if you play a lot of other games as well, then its $36 yearly increase is still less than what you would pay for Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, plus Call of Duty being an extra $70 on its own. For that matter, I mean, if you look at Call of Duty and how much it costs to play that game all year long without Game Pass Ultimate, people sometimes forget about this, but its price tag is actually much higher than just its initial $70 because you do need to pay for online multiplayer as well, or at least over on consoles. You don't have to do that on PC. On consoles, though, the absolute minimum that you would need to pay to play the newest Call of Duty on Xbox for 12 months would be at least $145 because you need Xbox Game Pass Core, which is now $75 a year. Now, on the PlayStation 5, you would need PlayStation Plus Essential, which brings the price to $150 because Essential costs $80 a year on top of Call of Duty's $70 price tag. So for Call of Duty players specifically, Game Pass Ultimate would cost them an extra $90 a year, and at that point, it's just kind of a matter of whether or not they're going to play all of these other games as well. If you play a lot of games, then Xbox Game Pass Ultimate would probably be worth it, but if you don't play a lot of other games, then you kind of understand where I'm going with this. It's really just what best suits you as an individual, and when it comes to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate, It's really going to be more for people who play a lot of games throughout the year and for people who are invested in Xbox's first-party content. Let's say over the next 12 months, you're anticipating to play Avowed, Indiana Jones, the next Doom, as well as the new Call of Duty, then yeah, Xbox Game Pass Ultimate would be worth it for somebody like that, and then plus you get all of those other games as well, because Xbox does consistently put out third-party day one deals on top of that. So if you're that type of gamer, if you like to play a lot of different games, then Xbox Game Pass Ultimate is probably still going to be the best deal in gaming, bar none. But at the same time, I will also say that they have zero excuses from this point forward to not be consistent with their first-party content. They are going to need to rely on that content more because there's going to be higher expectations with a higher, more premium price tag. Okay, so here's where things start to get a little bit more controversial, though. So they are going to introduce a new Xbox Game Pass tier called Xbox Game Pass Standard. From how I understand this is basically going to replace that middle tier, but it's only going to be for new members. So let's say if you're already subscribed to that middle tier, you'll now be considered a legacy subscriber, and you'll get the same perks that you've been paying for all along, which includes day one releases, so long as you don't let your subscription lapse. Unfortunately, though, for new or lapsed subscribers, they will not get that same benefit. They will now have to pay a higher $15 a month and will not get day one first-party releases. For them, they'll have to wait for an undefined amount of time before they can get those first-party games. Now, from what I've heard, these staggered releases will vary from 6 months to 12 months, and at times it could actually even be longer than that. Microsoft hasn't confirmed that information quite yet. They're dragging their feet a little bit here, which is something that I don't like to see, but we will have to wait for more official news. But for the time being, what we are seeing here is that middle tier has become a lot less attractive, and I think even more so when you compare it to something like PC Game Pass, which pays less, but also, interestingly, gets more. Yeah, this is kind of weird, but PC Game Pass costs $12 a month, but it also gets day one games. I mean, you have to ask, how exactly is that fair at all? Now, supposedly, the reason for this is because PC Game Pass hasn't been growing the way that they want, so they don't really have the same luxury of raising PC prices in quite the same way. But, if that's true, this is honestly kind of ridiculous. That almost makes it sound like they're taking advantage of their more loyal console fan base that stuck with them through thick and thin because they're less likely to unsubscribe, or they're more likely to upgrade to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Now, to be fair here, most console gamers are already subscribed to Game Pass Ultimate anyways, but that doesn't make this sound any better. With all that said, though, my main takeaway from all of this, though, is that I still believe Game Pass Ultimate is the best deal in gaming if you play a wide variety of games. But I also think this limits more people from buying into it just because that entry point is much higher now. That middle tier has just become a lot less attractive, and that makes the entry point much higher. So that's where I think Xbox will really need to prove that their first-party content is up to the challenge to justify its new asking price. Let me hear your thoughts about all of this, though. What do you think about all of this news, and how do you feel about the new price tag? Is it justified for you or not? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. Okay, now moving on here, let's go and talk about Bloodborne. Now, Sony has given fans various PlayStation 4 game upgrades for the PlayStation 5, but for whatever reason, they have yet to touch Bloodborne, which is kind of ironic because this is probably one of the most needed PlayStation 5 upgrades. We need a PlayStation 5 and PC version pronto. It honestly makes no sense by this point and why they haven't done it. It is a shame that it is still locked to 30 frames per second. What if I told you, though, that today a PlayStation 5 version of Bloodborne was actually spotted on PlayStation Stars, because that part is 100% true. You can actually see the picture right here, and of course, this has generated a lot of hope for fans. And you know what? I'm with you all on this one. I've been asking for this all generation long. I want this just as much as you all do, and I'd love for this to amount to something. But I gotta be completely honest with you all here. As much as I'd love for this to mean something, I'm just not convinced that it does. Sadly, I'd say that this is just as likely to be some kind of error. And one of the reasons I say that is because PlayStation Stars has been down for quite some time. I believe it's actually still down for a lot of people, and with that, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some errors within their system. In fact, from my understanding, if you click on it through PlayStation Stars, it takes you to Bloodborne's DLC, which clearly states that it's for the PlayStation 4. So I just wouldn't really look into this too much for the time being. Sure, I would love for it to be true, but I just don't think that this is any kind of concrete evidence one way or the other. I know, I'm crushing dreams today, but you do have to understand, I'm on your old side. I'm a part of that dream. Now, one last thing before I go. We got a really interesting update for Palworld. This is still the best-selling game for 2024, and Pocket Pair is going to fully capitalize on its success by partnering up with Sony Music Entertainment and Aniplex. Together, they founded Palworld Entertainment. You can see the official announcement here and what it means. They said, Palworld Entertainment is the company responsible for the licensing operations of Palworld. We are responsible for various domestic and international licensing operations for the Pocket Pair game Palworld, with the aim of accelerating the multifaceted development of Palworld and further expanding the IP. So if I'm reading this correctly, the way I take this is that we are going to see them expand through other media and merchandise, similar to Pokemon, which it's heavily inspired by. You know, that's been a big topic this year, and whether it plagiarized Pokemon. But yeah, there's a lot of possibilities with Palworld and some different merchandise. It could get an anime, it could get its own toy line, and even cards if that's something that they want to do. Their characters have a lot of appeal because, frankly, again, they look like Pokemon. Of course, Palworld is also coming to the PlayStation 5 later down the road. They've already teased that. But it sounds like, yes, they do have some big plans for the future of Palworld, and it'll be interesting to see how this partnership evolves over time and what exactly comes from it. One thing is for sure with all this, though. Palworld fans have an exciting future to look forward to. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode. Again, do let me hear your thoughts about the Xbox Game Pass situation. I expect some very differing opinions, so let me hear that in the comments below. But until next time, peace out.